I think July is going to be a massive month for Arsenal. I know things have been slow in June, but trust me, I think things pick up in terms of transfers. Arsenal will play football this month, and a lot of things are changing. That's actually going to mean that things really accelerate, and actually club football comes to the forefront once again. The Euros has been great, don't get me wrong. I'm all about Arsenal. Really, that's what I care about. That's what brings the kind of the nerves and the tension. That's what I want to talk about. And I really think this is a month to be excited. Not trying to be all Josh Kroenke. No, I don't have inside information. And this is all just based on my research and some evidence I can pull up to suggest that this is going to be a busy month. But let me try and convince you that it's something to be excited about. Don't get mad at me if things are a bit slower in July. I'm just giving you my prediction. But I really think this is the month that things start to happen. Let me talk you through, and of course we're going to start on the transfers front, because this video is breaking down everything to expect from July, including the fixtures, including the football that Arsenal will be playing, because we'll be kicking a ball again this month, which is great. But we've got to start on the transfers front. That's what everyone is thinking about, talking about, waiting for something to really happen. And the first thing I want to show you all is this. Arteta's main transfers and the announcement dates. Why am I showing you this? Because in the three proper sort of windows where he's been able to spend money, I know Thomas Partey, Willian came in the 2020 summer window. You know, I've broken these signings, anyone who was signed for basically above 25 to 30 million, and I've got down the dates that they were actually announced. And what you can see here, apart from Ramsdale, Ødegaard and Raya, who were all announced quite late in August actually, 7 of the 10 transfers were all in by the end of July. Now this is really important actually, because we're talking about the marquee players here. We're talking about Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko in by the end of July and able to play on Arsenal's pre-season tour in the summer of 2022. We're talking about £50 million Ben White in by the end of July, so he's ready to kick off the Premier League season. Same with Kai Havertz, Jurriën Timber and Declan Rice. They were all in and ready to go. Arsenal, for the last 3 years, and you can see they've only got quicker and quicker, they've typically wanted to get their business done, the main bulk of their business, their big business done by the end of July. That's always been the case. They want to have them ready to kick off for the start of the season, and they've actually wanted to have them ready for pre-season. And we're going to go through those pre-season dates and everything in a sec. But when I just look at that table there, it tells me that, yes, a lot of these players, Fabio Vieira we'd heard about in June. Jesus we'd certainly heard about, I think, back in April and May of 2022 before we signed him officially in July. Havertz, Timber, Rice, all that stuff came out in June, I know, and things are quieter, which actually is maybe a reason to think that this summer won't follow the same pattern. But Arteta and Edu like to have players ready. They've said that in interviews, and they want to get them playing football because Arsenal don't have as extensive and as full a pre-season as things stand as we have had before, so there's less opportunity to get these players up to speed. And I think there's a chance that we're going to see quite a lot of business. Okay, quite a lot of business. Let's just say an acceleration of business in the next 2 to 3 weeks. That might be optimistic, but I genuinely think there will be some breakout stuff in the coming weeks. Now, there's a couple other things that make me believe that. Firstly, that PSR issues will be behind clubs. So on the selling front, this is where Arsenal could benefit. PSR issues I've talked about quite a few times in this video, on this channel, should I say. PSR, profit sustainability rules, were forcing certain clubs that weren't meeting the rules in place to abide by profit and sustainability rules set by the Premier League or whoever it is. These clubs had to sell by June 30th, and that was the deadline. It wasn't a case of they had to get certain sales done by the end of the summer. There's that June 30th deadline, which means they're probably all focused on getting certain players out, and actually now can focus on incomings. So the likes of Smith Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, Aaron Ramsdale, who we all think will be sold to the Premier League, have all been linked with moves to the Premier League. A lot of those buying clubs probably weren't in a position to buy because other things were taking the focus. Now those players are probably available to move on, or those clubs, let's say, are available to try and get that business done. Arsenal, therefore, if they get more players out, can actually accelerate some of the incomings. I think that's important to know as well. PSR issues, while not affecting Arsenal, is probably kind of affecting the market in general, so important to know that too. But let's give you some updates as well on actual pre-season and players' availability and when they're going to return and who you can expect to actually be playing football this month, but also this summer in general for Arsenal. Because if we just look at this report from James Bench, brought to you by Doc, go follow Doc, really good news aggregator, has said that Ben White, Eddie Nketiah, Jurriën Timber, Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira all joined up with Arteta in Marbella on Monday to work on their fitness and form 3 weeks ahead of pre-season. Now, great to know that a lot of them are back early, trying to get up to speed for what is going to be a big pre-season for Arsenal. But interestingly They say 3 weeks ahead of pre-season. That's what James Benger's saying. Now, is he saying that because we can track that to the 15th of July? So they joined up in Marbella on Monday the 24th of June. 15th of July is 3 weeks later. Is that because it's the day after the Euros final? Or is that actually when pre-season officially starts? Will players actually be returning a little bit before then? But that is the date we have in place for pre-season starting, in terms of from that point on we could expect some games to be played. And I think you should expect pre-season behind closed doors friendlies against the likes of QPR, Brentford, Reading, those kind of clubs. I think Arsenal will be playing some football against them behind closed doors. But of course there's friendlies too. So let's talk about the key dates we do have confirmed for pre-season. In July, pre-season, 15th of July is what we've got. Now I'm expecting the USA tour to start around the 22nd. The reason it's in italics is because it's not 100% confirmed when they're going to fly out for pre-season tour. But we know that Man United and Liverpool will be faced in LA, the SoFi Stadium, and Philadelphia respectively, as those clubs sort of really take on each other in kind of the main bulk of pre-season. No other games confirmed, which is why I think they'll be behind closed door friendlies. There could be another game in the States announced last minute. But also, I mean, that's where I think Arsenal are really going to be trying to get up to speed. And if they're playing on the 28th, which is the Sunday, and the 31st, that's local time in the States and in Philadelphia as well, LA to Philadelphia, obviously it's quite a flight. I actually imagine that they'll go out there on the 22nd. So there's not quite a lot of flying, you know. You basically go out there 3 days for United, then fly to Philadelphia. That would be too chaotic, I think. I think they'll go out there a good week before, at least a good 6 days before, on the Monday, the 22nd, and start pre-season out in the States before they play United in LA. I think there could be another game, but we'll see. Maybe behind closed doors one, maybe against a MLS side, we will see. But they've also confirmed, and I know it's in August, not in July, they've also confirmed that Bayer Leverkusen will be playing Arsenal on the 7th. I think that's at the Emirates, the 7th of August. That will be a friendly taking place. And of course the Emirates Cup, which is a friendly on the 11th of August as well. So Arsenal have some good games against really good opposition ready for the end of July and beginning of August before things kick off on, I think, the 15th, 16th or 17th of August. I can't remember the exact dates. Now, what players can you expect to be available? Because these are the first team players that I think will be available for pre-season based on I don't know, their availability based on exits or competitions or whatever. Karl Hein, White, Timber, Kivior, Tomiyasu, Partey, Ødegaard, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Jesus, and Nketiah Nelson are the players I expect to be available for all of pre-season tour. If we go to the players that I think will largely be unavailable or unlikely to be largely available, aka might play some of pre-season but probably very little, and you're probably looking at them getting their first significant minutes actually in the Premier League. I'm looking at Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya, albeit they're both number 2s for England and Spain, so chances are they might come back quite quickly. Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Tierney, Jorginho, Rice, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard and Havertz as well. I don't think we're going to see any of them in an Arsenal shirt in July, and if we do, it will be like the Liverpool game maybe. Unless there's really early exits for other players. Kieran Tierney's got an injury. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see them kicking a ball in July, but I think the other players, you certainly could, and hopefully there's some signings there too. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, everyone. What do you make of, what do you make of Arsenal's July? Do you think things will pick up in the transfer window? Do you think the sales will get going? What do you think the squad will be looking like for pre-season? And are you excited to see Arsenal kick a ball again this month? Because I certainly am. I've missed it. I really have missed it. And I just think it's going to be great to see these players back in action again. And I'm really excited to see what happens on the transfer front, because don't shoot the messenger. Actually, I'm not just the messenger. It's a prediction. But I just feel like things will and have to change for Arsenal in the transfer window. And there are going to be key things that are changing in July, as I've mentioned in this video, that will speed things up. Let me know if you agree, or let me know if you think, actually, this is a slightly different window and we shouldn't be quite as excited. Would love to know your thoughts. Catch you soon.